Man, more than any other sport that I can think of besides, say, NASCAR, where you can be leading and for some reason the engine blows and there's really nothing you can do. Um, Football is a game of luck in so many ways. And what I mean by that, in terms of its injuries, there are, some assassin behind every door, whether it's in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow. It can be any place, anytime. And, if you look at the teams that win the Super Bowl, generally, not always, but generally, they've managed to have good luck. The two times that the Bucs won the Super Bowl in 2002, I recall that the only major player they lost was Booger McFarland, and that was towards the end of the year. He got hurt in Detroit. And, of course, in 2020, when they won the Super Bowl, they lost one of their guards, I believe, and I can't remember which one. It wasn't Ali Marpet, but basically Aaron Stinney filled in for a couple of the playoff games, and they won. So they really, they avoided cataclysmic injuries. Well, injuries have snuck up on the Bucs, and the worst thing you can have happen to you as a football team, Steve, is that the injuries occur in one position or at one position predominantly. That's
Yep.
something that you just can't survive, and that has happened with the Bucs now. Of course, they're without both their offensive tackles because Tristan Wirfs recovering from surgery. Now you have Luke Gedeke tried to play the other day; he's out again. So that's a problem in and of itself. Ironically, and maybe sadly, the one offensive lineman that played both games at his given position, his given starting position, was Cody Mauch. And now we learn that Cody Mauch injured his knee, will require surgery, and is lost for the season. And so just to recap, you have Tristan Wirfs is out. So Graham Barton switches from center to left tackle, not his position. Then you take Ben Bredesen, the left guard, and move him to center. Then you have to activate a guy named Michael Jordan, not that Michael Jordan, off the practice squad and play him at left guard. Malcolm had been your only player in his right position at right guard. And then you find out that Gedeke, he goes out and he aggravates his foot injury, and you have to take Charlie Heck and play him at right tackle. While he's a swing tackle, he had played the entire preseason and training camp at left tackle. And then now this. So, look, there's going to come a point, and we may be there, where it's going to cost you a lot of football games. Very few teams have 5 good offensive linemen, 5 starting caliber offensive linemen. Almost nobody has 6, and I promise you they don't have 7 or 8. So, the Bucs are in a bad position, and even though the group that they put out there against Houston was overmatched, they fought their ass off. They ran the ball extremely well, as they have done. I think they've had 14 straight games that I see where the Bucs have rushed for 100 yards or more. So they've been pretty consistent regardless. And some of that credit goes to the running backs as well.
Absolutely.
But this is, this is now beyond the pale. Like, it's beyond the pale how you're going to continue to put a product out there that offensively you can win games with when you keep losing all your offensive linemen. It's just, I don't want to be doom and gloom. They are 2-0. And they'll find a way. And Kevin Carberry is a tremendous offensive line coach. And there are guys that they will plug and try to play, but man, what bad news that the Bucs keep getting on this position front.
Well, and it's as you said, you can't get the injuries piling up at one position. Last year was defensive backs.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line, which is so critical because it's a unit.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to just plug and play someone in the
That's
offensive
right.
line, and particularly when the Bucs are already shuffling the line, moving Graham Barton to left tackle, moving Bredesen to center. They've already makeshifted it. Now, there's no good news, but you're expecting Wirfs back in a couple weeks. You hope Luke Gedeke's back soon.
Yeah.
It's not like all of them are lost for the season.
No, that's true.
But losing Cody Mauch now, and now you're getting to your home opener. But it's a good thing you started 2-0. because this is going to be a tough contest this weekend.
It'll be a lot closer than it should be, I think. And yeah, the 2-0, winning both games on the road, one against a division opponent, given this set of circumstances, is house money. It's house money. I think when the season started and we knew Wirfs would be out, didn't know Gedeke was going to get hurt, but knew Godwin wasn't going to be here. I kind of said, if they can get through the first 4 weeks and be 2-2, they're right where they need to be. Especially if one of those wins was against Atlanta. And now I'm thinking, if you're 2-2, you're right where you need to be. I mean, because after the Jets, it gets much tougher. Obviously, you're going to play the Super Bowl champion Eagles down here. And while I know they're not afraid of the Eagles, it's still the Super Bowl champions. And then defensively, let's not forget, you just lost. The worst news the other night was that they lost Kalijah Cansey. So in one game, you sustained 2 season-ending injuries to very, very important starters on your football team. That's a lot to lose in one game from a season-ending standpoint.
Well, they always say the closer to the ball you are, the more impactful you are.
No
this
question.
Is your right guard and a defensive tackle.
No question.
Just lost for the season.
That's where football is won or lost, is in the trenches.
Yep.
And I know Jason Light, and I know that he'll bang the bushes, and they've already decided that they're going to sign a guard center named Dan Feeney off the Bills practice squad. I broke that news. This guy has a lot of starting experience in the league. He's started 65, 120 games played for a lot of different football teams. Like I said, recently the Bills practice squad. So they'll bring in some people, they'll work out some people. Maybe Sua Peta comes back off of whatever list he was on in the past. I don't know. But like I said, there's just not guys on the street, and people will say, well, why don't you trade for somebody? And it's like, no, this isn't fantasy football. You have salary cap issues. You have other team. I mean, who's considering themselves completely out of the running right now at 0-2, So you work guys out. You look to the practice squads. You try to, whether it's Elijah Klein or whoever you have on your roster, you try to see if you've got some guys like they did with Michael Jordan, bringing him off the practice squad. You got to find a way. And this is an opportunity, and a big one, for somebody that's currently either not on the roster or not starting right now, that they're going to have to lean on for a while to get them out of this. But man, what a mess! Like, just it seems like every night. And I thought I could put the laptop down for a while, and it's just been one thing after another. But Baker Mayfield is still healthy, so there's that. And you could be a lot worse off, than the Bucs are injury wise. There was some other bad injury news though, and we don't know the extent of this one. Although it was a walkthrough practice, so what they had to do was sort of guesstimate the injury status of their players had they had a full practice. But Emeka Egbuka on the injury list, not where you want to see him. And he has a groin injury predominantly. I didn't see this during the broadcast, even though I was trying to watch it and watch the game too. But apparently, he had a wrap around one of his thighs and groin and whatnot. So hey, all he has done is lead the NFL in touchdown receptions with 2 other players, and had 3 so far this season. We know that you're not going to get Jalen McMillan back anytime soon. So what does it look like if, in fact, you don't have an Emeka Egbuka? You got, Mike Evans and, and then you're, Sterling Sharps and guys
Sterling
like this,
Shepard.
Ryan Miller, and
Sterling Shepard. You mean?
Yeah, Sterling Shepard, Sterling Sharp. It'd be great if Sterling Sharp still has some eligibility left in him. I think he's a little old. Sterling Shepard, yeah, that's pretty funny. But it's not your frontline guys. Like, you need depth already at that receiver position. So we'll see what kind of quick healer Emeka is. But he wasn't, and it was a guesstimate had they practiced and such. But they had him on the injury list. So yeah, kind of dropping like flies, man. It's while you're happy to be 2-0, you wonder if you can get one more victory with this group right now, and it's just weird. It was several years ago. I want to say Brady's second year, maybe. Yeah, it was his second year, I believe, and they got decimated in the secondary. That's when they brought in Coach Richard Sherman. He came in on a Wednesday, and we said, "Hey, Sherman, you think there's a chance you could play?" And say, "Oh no, that would be unrealistic." He started. He started the next Sunday. Didn't play very well. Didn't play very long at his age, and did more coaching than anything else. But it's just it's kind of what it reminds me of a little bit is take a guy off the street and plug him in, and see what you got. But that's where your coaching staff really earns their money. And like I said, Kevin Carberry is great. If I was just going by positions, though, Steve, if you told me you had to lose some offensive linemen, okay, um, I would say this: like they're going to get Wirfs back. Presumably, they're going to get. Well, I know they will. They're going to get Gedeke back most likely, and then you're going to be able to move Barton from left tackle back to center. Guards, I think, are among the more replaceable players on that offensive line because it's a help position, right? You're really just going to leave a guard one-on-one. The center can help him. He can help the tackles. The tackles can help block down inside out. And so from that standpoint, for the Bucs to have what I think is a promising young Pro Bowl caliber center and two Pro Bowl caliber or all pro caliber in one case tackles, I think you can make up the rest. I think you do some stuff, to hold up in front of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, that's why the guards are generally the least paid on the offensive
Exactly.
line.
There
overall.
you go.
The tackles and then the centers are generally the most. The guard, they're all important positions. Because it's a unit. One part fails on the offensive line, the whole unit fails.
Sure.
But yeah, the guard is the easier position to fill. So if you're going to lose one for the season, that position is easier to fill than go and find a left tackle, which is exactly why the Bucs shifted Graham Barton to left tackle
were fortunate,
instead of putting Heck or anybody else there.
Mm-hmm.
You can't find those everywhere. Not that you can find guards everywhere either, but it's an easier position to fill, no question about it.
Well, if you ever doubted whether they're tough guys, right? Cody Mauch, think about this. We have a photo in the Tampa Bay Times and on TampaBay.com where he was the one that escorted Rachaad White into the end zone on that game-winning touchdown. That dude, and I don't know when he got hurt, maybe on that play. I doubt it, but whenever he got hurt, he did not come out of the game. And so, they're tough guys, but he had to have felt something. Adrenaline sure helps, but that's rare that you find out a guy who played the entire game has a season-ending injury. And if I was speculating, that's what we do. I've seen guys play basketball after tearing the ACLs. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. I've seen guys walk off, from flag football games.
Adrenaline's a funny thing, man.
That's probably it. That's really probably it. You feel something. You don't know, something's wrong, but, you tape it up, put some ice on it, whatever.
Well, it's also, look, these guys deal with pain every day.
That's true,
Much like Tristan Wirfs was in pain all offseason, but was like, that's normal.
Yeah.
And it turns out he ended up needing surgery.
Right. Yeah.
In order to get better. And that's why he's missing part of the season. But, these guys don't know anything but playing through pain. And they also don't want to come off the field, so they're going to lie about it anyway. And then
especially offensive linemen.
Yeah. And then you add the adrenaline of a game.
Yeah.
It's amazing what these athletes do.
Ali Marpet told me that he found out when he quit playing football that he was addicted to pain. Not pain medication, but to feeling sore. Isn't that interesting? He liked the soreness. And so he did something healthy that made him very sore, which was running. He goes, I hated to run. And then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, I like the way it makes me feel sore. So he started running long distance and, further and further until he could make his body have that ache,
Well, to get to that level, you have to deal with pain. And
absolutely.
So it's probably just a mental mechanism of, if I'm going to be in pain, I might as well learn to enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the only way I'm going to get to where I need to be.
Yep. Get comfortable being miserable is what they do. And that's what football is. And that's why not everyone can play it, because football hurts. Baseball doesn't hurt, right? You get hit by a pitch at 95, it stings, don't get me wrong. And you can break bones. And but the object of the game is not collision. There may be contact at times, but there's not collision. That's not the object. Whereas, man, everything else like football is just, it hurts. Whether you're in youth league, the equipment intensity, the big bobblehead helmets, like there's a lot of stuff you got to deal with. It's like scuba diving. I put on all this gear on and then go try to play. Like, okay, I can't move now. Sure, let me show you what a great athlete I am. But I feel bad for Cody and really anybody that pours as much as these guys do into playing the game that they love, only to have one play cause an injury like that. But hopefully he'll make a full recovery, and we're going to see how resourceful the Bucs are. And Josh Grizzard, the poor guy, takes over as a first-time coordinator, and they're dropping like flies. They're just dropping like flies, man.
Well, speaking of dropping like flies, did the Bucs defense drop like flies on the Nick Chubb touchdown?
I see what you did there. Good segue. And survey says, yeah, they laid down. Now, they didn't admit laying down, au contraire, but they did get their messages.
It was a heck of a run, Rick.
Really? It was a heck of a run, especially when there was no one to tackle you. Look, the big thing for me was Winfield, and I had said this, I think, on this podcast. I know I did on the radio, in case you want to listen. It's ESPN Tampa Bay, every day from 9 to 10. I did say that I felt like at least when Antoine Winfield got to him and there was 10 yards to go, we saw Winfield quit, right? We saw him quit on the play. And what do we know about Antoine Winfield? He never stops, right? He's the guy that's knocking the ball out of players' hands on the goal line. And in this case, he pulled up. So the question was, did Todd Bowles order the code red? And, there's some gray area. I think there's an uncomfortability of the topic, and first and foremost with head coaches, whether it's strategy, and clearly this strategy worked. The Bucs did get the ball back with the 2-minute warning and 3 timeouts and didn't even need them all, and went down and scored with 6 seconds left. So, yay, good decision for them. But there's also a little kind of creepiness to it. I mean, we all watched Nick Chubb go in from 25 yards. We all watched Winfield pull it up at the end. And then, Baker needed to do a Houdiniac on 4th and 10 to sustain the drive. But he went 11 plays and 80 yards in 2:04 and won the game with a touchdown with 6 seconds left. And so we went and asked Bowles, on Wednesday, did you order the code red? And he didn't go all Jack Nicholson on us at all. He just said, I don't think it matters. We won the game, so we'll go from there. Well, yeah, it matters. I mean, what do you mean? You don't think it matters. You don't want to talk about it. I get that. But trust me, it matters. And for a lot of reasons we'll get into. So he said, so you're not going to tell us? And he goes, at all. Not going to tell us at all. And it's clear that they were all on message. And obviously Bowles must have had a team meeting, or when he met with the team like he does every day. He must have kind of headed off the problem and told them that, hey, if you're asked about this now, because to a man, they used the same phraseology, Antoine Winfield Jr. It was a great run by him. Like I said before, it was a good run. Good run, man. Good play call. And he would not crack that position. And then Tyke Smith, who almost perfectly matched what Winfield said. He said, it was a good run, good play call for what we were in. So these guys were coached up. I don't have any doubt that they know what they're doing, or knew what they were doing. And yeah, it just kind of makes you wonder. I mean, there is something, like, I get the strategy, right? You're trying to win the game. Hello, my good friend Herm Edwards, who was on Dan Patrick the other day, and he asked about, the Judy Baptista question, which led to, you play to win the game. And Herm always says, everybody forgets the hello. That's the best part. Hello, you play to win the game. And yes, absolutely. One more point than the next guys. Any way you can do that within the rules. Here's my question. Every league has an integrity of the game clause because unlike, and if you guys love wrestling, turn your podcast down now. Unlike some of this scripted wrestling that is predetermined, these other sports leagues portend to be spontaneous competition, like legit, like not scripted. They don't know what's going to happen, type of thing, and therefore, people bet on them, and the gamblers are really happy or sad, but there's all kind of money exchanging hands, and for that reason, I'm just wondering about the guy that had some point spread that's nebulous, and all of a sudden he sees the Bucs just lay down, for a player to trot into the end zone. And if you think that this is untrue and we're making a leap here, consider that every guy we talked to used the same term. I think it was a good run, good play call, good run. It was a great run by them. Like I said before, good run, man, good play call. They, if they said it once, they said it 1,000 times. Like, it was good. Yeah, good on them. Good on them. We could never stop them. And then you put on the tape and you realize, wait a minute. Yeah, you could have. Was Antoine Winfield Jr. now not going to run guys down on the goal line? He's going to put up the white flag instead? I don't know, man. It's just something about it made me feel a little creepy. I don't know what it was.
I have absolutely no issue with it.
Really?
No. Why? It's a strategy to win the game.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it is.
I mean, okay. We talked before the podcast a little bit. Integrity of the game and the gambling and all this. Like, their goal is to win the game. The odds are, as deep as Atlanta or Houston was in that point, in the time on the clock, the odds are you're going to lose that game. All they have to do is kick a field goal. They got to figure out how to run the clock down far enough and kick a field goal, and they win that game. It's a strategy to win the game. Integrity of the game, they didn't try to lose the game. They're not giving up points because, hey, we're up 50. Let's just give up a touchdown to get the under or get to under a point spread or whatever. Like, they're trying to win the game. It's a strategy. There's no integrity. Wasn't like we're giving up a touchdown so we can lose or get a point spread or, maybe it affected it. I don't know. But, like, you're trying to win the game. So if you have a lead late, and I've seen this in football, maybe it's more college than anything, but you have a lead late and you get behind, it's 3rd and 1, they blitzed, you got behind them and you could have scored a touchdown, but instead you take a dive and fall and give yourself up.
Right.
Because keeping the ball guarantees you a win. Is that integrity of the game?
I'd have to think about it. I guess on the one hand, if you have control of the ball, then you have control of the game, right? In other words,
but your goal is to score, right?
No. Well, not necessarily. Your goal is to win the game, and you would say, well, that's what they're doing. They're trying to win the game.
Exactly.
I think the difference is that when you have the football, okay, you do have control of that ball. You have control of that ball, and the belief is that if it's just like, okay, at the end of the game when the clock's running down and the other team has no timeouts, is taking a knee cheating? Is that an integrity of the game issue when you get the quarterback just kneels down and lets the clock run for three snaps? I don't think it is, because I think you're in control. You have the ball. I think I think there's something that is, I don't know, antithetical about a defense letting a team score. It's a good strategy. It absolutely worked. But if nothing, and this is the only empirical data I can present to you. If there's nothing wrong with it, okay, morally or by the rules or what have you, then why didn't a single player or coach just say, hey, worked to it like a charm, really genius move by us, wasn't it? Did you see us let them score? And then bam, we were able to get the ball back. Otherwise, this game was toast. Why isn't there that? Show me that guy. Instead, you know what we got? We got a bunch of guys that, to a T, parroted their head coach. like they were coached up. You know why? Because
That
they were
happens all the
coached
time,
up.
though. Well, they were coached up. For whatever reason, Todd Bowles doesn't want to say
Good
it,
run,
but-
good play for the call.
Yeah.
Good run, good play. You tanked. I mean, you basically laid down. Why not say, if it's so good, if it's so genius, and that's the decision that enabled you to win the game? Hello, why not just own it? Tell me if everything's kosher, why aren't they owning it? And they're not. And it wasn't for a lack of asking.
Because that's not what that coaches like playing those games. Like, and maybe they are worried about someone bringing that up. Although to me, it's not violating the integrity of the game because that was a strategy to win the game.
But you laid down. Yes, it was a
Well,
strategy to win the game.
I mean, take a different sport. What happens when you put a position player into pitch? Are you affecting the integrity of the game?
I wouldn't allow that, but yeah, you are.
I mean, now baseball has rules where you can only do it in certain situations now.
Right.
But you're down by 8, you put a position player in, you're affecting the integrity of the game. They may hit 6 more home runs and hit an over, hit a this. Like,
yeah.
Now, that strategy is to save your pitchers for the next day in the next game.
Right, but typically those games, like the game we're talking, like typically that sort of scenario is the game is out of hand.
Hey.
Right? Like you can't come back. And baseball is different in this sense. It's the only sport where I think, or one of the only sports where the defense has the ball. The defense controls the game.
All right,
not
so
the offense.
You're a defensive back late in the game.
Yeah.
And you bite on a fake and get burnt.
Mm-hmm.
So you grab the receiver and tackle him.
Mm-hmm.
Is that integrity of the game? You didn't try to make a play. You purposely fouled him.
It's a strategy, and you could say that about basketball when you do the hack-a-shack.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I have no problem with it. Like, I got burnt. I'm not going to let him score a touchdown. I'll take the penalty and live to fight another
right,
day.
But here's the thing. Penalties are part of the game, part of every game.
But you intentionally...
Laying down is not. Hold on. Laying down is not. What sport do you just say, we're going to let them lay that one up. We're going to let them, I don't know. You see what I'm saying? There's something about it, and I will go back to this. And I'm sure we can Google it all night and probably find some examples of, if you won't own it, you know there's something wrong with it. If you won't own it, there's something wrong with it. There's something antithetical about it. Otherwise, be the genius. Yeah, be Jack Nicholson. I mean, who ordered the code red? Clearly, Bowles ordered the code red. Right? And I tried to take him right where he was dying to go, and he wouldn't admit it.
Obviously, not as good as Tom Cruise.
I know. I know. I tried. And I couldn't crack him. Couldn't crack Lieutenant Jessup on the stand up there. But that's what tells me it's wrong. That's what tells me something's wrong about it. And look, here's the weird, like, I'm just trying in my mind to think, like, what's the strategy here, okay? Because understand this. Let's say you play it straight up, okay? Now, where they were was not a chip shot field goal. They're at the 25, right? So you're talking about a 35 from the snap.
43-yard field goal.
43-yard field goal. What happens if you don't lay down and you play it straight up, right? What happens if they have a holding penalty? You whip the guy in front of you and he grabs a hold of you, and it's a 15-yard penalty. How far is the field goal now?
Oh, I'm not saying you definitely lose the game if you don't do that.
See, that's my point. My point is it's not like they were at the 2-yard. They weren't at the 2-yard line. They were at the 25.
But they also have more plays, and they might get down to the 5-yard line and then make it a.
They could, or they could have a penalty, or you could have a sack, or you could drop them for a couple losses, and they're out of field goal range.
And look, letting the team score takes a risk because you now are losing. There's no guarantee you're going to drive down the field and score.
Absolutely, there's not.
And there was no guarantee they were going to miss. They were going to miss the 2-point conversion to only be up 5 instead of.
Well, what happened in Atlanta? Did they lay down, or did they make the Atlanta kicker try a field goal that he then missed, and they won the game? Could have done the same thing. Get the ball back, have some time. that's what I mean. Like, there's something that commands us to compete, and that's not competing. It's strategy, and it turned out to be genius. But I go back to my original thing. They were all coached up. Hey, guys, team meeting, right, before the game. Hey, media's here today. Now, remember, what we did in Houston stays in Houston, right? Great run, great play call. To a man, they said the same thing. Wouldn't go beyond those two little things. Great run, great play call.
Well, that's what the coach told him to say.
He coached him up.
For whatever reason, Todd Bowles wanted his team to be on the same message. Coaches do that all the time. Players and coaches lie to the media all the time.
No. Really?
Yeah. Believe it or not.
Why am I just finding this out now? I've been quoting guys for a living for years. I thought they were always telling me the truth. Yeah. But no, I understand all of it, and it worked in the Bucs' favor and all of that. They would do it again. There's still something creepy about letting a team score. You know, it's just different. Just feel it hits you different, right? And and look, it took a 4th and 10 conversion. It wasn't like this strategy was working very well.
No, there was a huge risk to it.
Yeah, they were about to lose. And you wonder too if Beastline, the guy that's in the booth, if you don't credit him for just a, blatant gutsy move to tell Bulls, hey, you're letting them score here.
Well, I think the brilliant part of the strategy was how early they did it. I've seen it, and maybe it's more in college than I've seen it. I can't think of specific examples, but generally it's more like a minute left or 45 seconds, and the field goal's you're close up, your field goal's imminent. And so you kind of let them score just because that's the only chance you're going to have, assuming they don't botch a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're out of timeouts. The Bucs also had timeouts at that point too. So
they had 3 of them and a 2-minute warning.
Yep.
Yeah, they may have actually gotten the ball back, but it would have been so little time to do anything with it. Is the problem?
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's a fascinating argument, debate, what have you, circumstance, but one that again, Todd Bowles. We're not talking about it. Antoine Winfield Jr., Tyke Smith. Yeah, great run, great call.
Yep. I wonder if you're going to see more teams start to do this.
They should. If the Bucs can get away with it, I don't know why you wouldn't. I see games like this all the time, where it's like, hey, they're probably going to kick that field goal and you're going to lose, and they're taking all your clock and all your timeouts.
Yep.
Just let them go in.
How would you rather lose, a last-second field goal or with my offense having a shot to go down the field?
Absolutely, you'd rather do it with your offense having the ball.
It's actually a big change for Todd Bowles because I think he'd rather have his defense on the field stopping someone.
Always.
That's a huge change for Todd Bowles.
Yep, sure is. Sure is. And that might be, some of the sort of the growth that he's shown as a head coach and the acknowledgement that he's weak in some areas, which was game clock management. That's why he brought in Beastline. I mean, and it worked out for 2 weeks now. 2 weeks. Man, they're becoming the cardiac Bucs. It's like, if you're a fan of this team, my God, bring the Maylocks or something to each game. It's been a wild ride so far anyway. Hey, we'll get to the Rays, and the Tampa Bay Lightning had a big media availability as well that we'll talk about here in just a second. But first, get on down to Breitling Boutique. You want to know what time it is? It's time to get one of those beautiful Breitling watches. Breitling Company's been in business for over 140 years. They've been in International Plaza for more than 5 years. Now, that's where you're going to find the men's watches, the Navitimers, and the Chronomat watches, gorgeous, as well as watches for your wife and your girlfriend. These are sports watches. They are durable. They're beautiful. She gets to pick from an array of different colored wristbands. It's all there at Breitling Boutique, as well as while supplies last. That's the key phrase. They are celebrating the NFL's 104th anniversary with 32 different team watches. These are Chronomat watches. They have the face of the watch is the team colors as well as the logo inside. They're absolutely stunning. I was by there not too long ago, saw one in the window that belonged to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you're a football fan or a Bucs fan in particular, go see our friends at Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. When you go, make sure you let them know that you heard about it here on Sports Day Tampa Bay. Rays won a pretty interesting game, and I'll tell you what, Chandler Simpson, he can make some plays. With Kevin Kiermaier in the house, Simpson went Spider-Man on center field wall and robbed Blue Jay hitter of a home run. It was remarkable. Then I think he had about 3 hits, if I'm not mistaken. And the Rays win. It was an exciting game, well pitched game, obviously for them. But man, Chandler Simpson's a fun guy to watch. It's going to be fun to see him in the bigs with the Rays for years to come.
Well, they stave off elimination as part of this.
15 games out of first place, by the way.
They're still alive though. They're still alive in the playoffs.
Saying there's
10 games to go. They can get to 84 wins. They can no longer catch the Yankees for number 1 wild card. Seattle and Boston are the second and third wild card. They're tied for that.
Yep.
They're at 83 wins. So
okay,
there's still a chance. But Chandler Simpson had a great night. But of concern, Junior Caminero leaves the game.
He did, yeah.
Mid-back tightness day to day.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. You don't want to see that because he's been the big ray of hope, all year long. He's the guy.
Well, I want to see him get the home run record.
I do too. Was he shy about 2 or 3 of those?
I think he's 2 shy of tying, 3 of setting the record.
Yeah.
With 10 games to go.
That's held by what? Pena, I think?
Yes, Carlos Pena in 2007.
Yeah. Well, he may not get the record, but boy, what a year this kid has had. I mean, if you told anybody that he was going to do this, I think even knowing his greatness, they wouldn't have projected this.
Not this year. I mean, not your age 21 season. No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, you were thinking if you could get 30 out of him, you were going to be thrilled.
He's a baby. He and I think that Caminero had a number in mind that was probably 30. So, yeah, hell of a year. And a well-pitched game by Seymour. He looked good on the mound.
Pete Fairbanks was fired up in the 9th, closing it out.
Yeah, he was. Pete. Jeez. That guy. It's a coin toss with him. But, hey, while they're playing, they're putting on the roof over at the Tropicana Field. I never thought I'd hear Kevin Cash say this, but he said it.
Yep.
I can't wait to get back to the Trop. Oh, my God. Did you just say that, Kevin Cash? I think he did. Yeah.
I was having a conversation with Evan Klosky today from 10 News.
Love it. Evan's great.
And we were talking about what went wrong with the Rays season.
And,
he says it's Steinbrenner Field. Like
in a nutshell, he thinks that's it?
Like the pitching.
Okay. Well, it's mostly the relief pitching.
But Pepio and Boz, if you look at their home ERAs compared to road,
those guys threw at noon every day.
But compared to home ERAs to road ERAs.
Yeah.
Like so much better on the road because their style doesn't fit Steinbrenner Field. Like in the Trop.
You're talking about because of what a bandbox it is? Short porch?
Fly ball pitchers and, all that stuff. Like their stuff was never set up to play at Steinbrenner Field. Like the Yankees only go after certain types of pitchers because they know they have a bandbox.
It's a bandbox, yeah.
Right. And the
Rays, you got guys that hit the ball in the air.
Right.
You're good.
The Rays have been building this team for years, and they didn't plan to play on Steinbrenner Field this year.
That's fair. I mean, I'll listen to that. Yeah. I think the rest of it though sounds like sour grapes to me.
I think there's a lot of factors in everything.
Because listen, all we heard, right? Maybe not so much from the players, certainly the fans. Indoor baseball sucks. I want baseball should be outdoors. I want a stadium in Tampa. Why is it going to be in St. Pete? So okay, we give you outdoors. We give you Tampa, and no, you can only seat 10,000. I don't know how many they now sellouts every night. But what
actually
difference
18 or 19 games have not been sellouts now.
Really? Okay. Well, but how did any of this make your club better?
Well, so yes, fans have been wanting this whatever. It's not, when the Rays build a new stadium wherever it is, doesn't matter. Whatever the dimensions are, you'll start building a team for that. Like there are certain types of players that work better at Tropicana Field than at Yankee Stadium or at another stadium.
You need some Bronx Bombers at
but the Rays, 3 months prior to the season go, okay, you're not at Tropicana Field anymore. Now you're playing here outside the. You didn't build a team for that. You didn't plan for that. You didn't like.
But it should have played well because you got a left-handed power hitter in Lau, right?
Yeah,
Brandon Lau.
Right.
Caminero had a freaking rookie of the year, or he's not a rookie, but an all-star type ridiculous year with the number of home runs, almost set a franchise record.
Sure.
So I mean, you still got that.
Oh no, I mean it's not just the field is the reason, but there's a lot of things that go into a 162 game season and why you're successful and not.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a stretch they were 25-9 and were unstoppable. Then they had a stretch where they went 10-24 or whatever.
They about reversed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
It's weird, and there's going to be a lot of reasons for this, and some individual players had great years, others had substandard years, some injuries in the outfield. But interesting news too, with the sale being imminent, and Rob Manfred saying Tampa's in a good place now, and stadium talks will ramp up. Matt Silverman and Brian Auld not returning, or will be leaving the team, or in their capacities. I think Ald's still going to stay on as an advisor through the transition, and Matt Silverman's still going to represent Stu Sternberg's interest in the team because he'll still be a part owner, it sounds like.
Yeah, all in all, not surprising, although I think those guys did a good job, or at least that's what we believe.
Yeah.
I also think that if I pay, or in this case, overpay 1.7 something billion with a B, that I've got a whole lot of smart friends, a whole lot of billionaires that are in my group, and they all have kids and accountants and community relations people and all that. They deserve the right to bring their guys in. Now, you'd like to think that they'll interview everybody that's currently there, and they'll have a chance to keep their jobs if they're good at it. But listen, that's professional sports, right?
Sure.
Like, how many people hire friends and relatives, sometimes to their detriment, but I would encourage them. If I were advising them, I said, yeah, you don't want to get rid of these guys so fast.
Right.
But that's the way it is.
But here's the other part of this, and not surprising, this moves were made, and whether the new owner said we don't want to retain you or they chose to step away, we don't know that.
We don't, and some of them may have opportunities somewhere else very soon.
That's true too. But as
Joe Madden certainly did.
But as they step away, does that make Eric Neander reconsider what he wants to do? Does that make Kevin Cash? Does that make others?
It could, absolutely.
And that's the part of the unknown of when everyone celebrates
regime change.
Stu is selling the team, and if you didn't like Stu, great, fine.
Yeah.
But there are ramifications down the line. Now, some would say after 2 years of not making the playoffs, good riddance to those guys. I'm not in that camp, but
I would always say the devil may be better than the one you don't know. You just don't know. You think you know, as Bill Parcells would say, but you don't know.
Right.
So I'd kind of lean that way. But yeah, there's going to be changes for sure.
Yep.
But
it sounds like the sale is going to go through pretty quickly here.
Yeah, I might look. The Rowdies are involved at some level here too. I had heard that it was sort of the money transferred a day ago. I don't know if that's true, but it's pretty much wrapped up now. With respect to hiring a GM or firing guys, I don't know where that sits. But if they tell you they're not going to be retained, and they put out a statement as such, that means they're out. And both those guys are probably either going to, and I don't know if they're under contract with Sternberg. I don't know how that works when you're in the front office. It may be a contract with them, but both those guys are going to walk out with a bag.
Oh, yes.
They're getting paid to go away. It's not going to be like, hey, dude, where's your key? Turn it in. They're going to have jobs, and if I had to guess, I'd say the Nationals are going to be loading up on Rays front office people. If I just had to guess, but I don't know. It's still harsh, you still feel like you're being fired because you're being fired, essentially. And then finally, big day at the Lightning. All the players talk. Man, couple observations, and you can tell me what they said. Nikita Kucherov's English is phenomenal. Not good now, but phenomenal.
He was fantastic.
He was terrific, and the things he talked about, let you get into that. Vasi still ticked off and in a big way that they keep losing in the playoffs at home.
Yep. And in overtime.
Yeah. Oh, he was still steaming. So I guess that's good. I don't know. He hasn't gotten over it. What else did we learn? We
The
learned a
biggest
bunch
thing is Nick Paul had surgery Friday
that was it.
for an
Yeah.
upper body injury. He will not be back till early to mid-November.
Oof,
So he's
that's
going
a
to miss
tough
the
one.
first month of the season.
Wow, that's a tough one.
They said it was an injury. To me, I'm not saying the same injury, but the same process of Tristan Wirfs,
Yeah.
where they tried to
Scope it.
not casually is not the right word, but
Use
rehab it. They were hoping it would just, without surgery, get better, and it just didn't get better, or didn't get to a point where they needed it to be. So they decided to go ahead and have the surgery.
Yeah, kind of waited a while, a little too long, maybe.
Yeah. Well, they thought it was going to get better without surgery, which is always the preferred option, of course.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure.
It's a conservative approach, they said. That's how Julian Breesbaugh described it.
Nick Paul is a very good player for them. He does a lot of things for them.
Oh, absolutely. But if he misses the first month of the season out of a 6-month season, you can deal with that. And they have depth at forwards this year. They're deeper at forward than they've been in years.
Yeah.
To be honest. And so they have some depth, whether it's a Connor Geeky or, if you really think about it in no particular order, and we've been having this debate, and we can, as camp goes on, it'll be interesting, although with Nick Paul missing time. I don't think Connor Geeky makes this team to start the season.
Really? Wow.
Well, the reason is your top 9 forwards, in no particular order or lines, but Point, Cooch, and Gensel. Cirelli, Hagel, and let's just put Gonsalves on that line for now. Gord, Bjorkstrand, Paul. Is Geeky better than any of those 9 at this point? At this point in his career. So if you're going to have Geeky play your 4th line, wouldn't you be better off putting him in Syracuse and playing top line minutes and playing every situation? Now, Nick Paul's out, so and your 4th line is still Gergensons, Pontus Holmberg, probably Jack Finley, and you still have Mitchell Chafee as well.
I mean, they could go that way, but I mean, don't you want to see what Geeky's upside is?
Absolutely. Well, I think a lot of it will depend on what happens in camp. But with Nick Paul out now there's a spot open. Like you could say, okay, I'll put him on my top 9.
Yeah.
The whole point is you don't need Connor Geeky getting 4th line minutes, getting 6 minutes a game.
No, he needs to play. I agree with that.
Right. And it's not a knock on him. It's just
it's where you are as a franchise.
It's where he's at in his career too. Like he's young and still developing and growing. Now, come to camp and we'll see what he worked on all summer. And they said he's been training hard and looks good. But we'll see in camp. That could change a mindset and say, no, we'll put him in over this person. Or you have options. You could move Yanni Gord to the 4th line and play him a little less minutes. But he still gets penalty kill in that. So they have options. But the point is they have depth at the forward position. More than they've had in the last few years. And which is a good thing. But on the power play, Cooch even talked about, because they asked him specifically about last year the power play and not having Stamkos at the left circle.
Makes a difference.
He was pretty frank about, like, we got to find somebody there. Like, we don't have a legit threat there right now.
Slap shot artist,
which makes it harder for Point in the bumper position or Hedman up top.
No, they're not shading his way. That's the problem.
And he also said the power play stunk last year. Now they finished top 5 in hockey.
Yeah.
But as he said, he goes, in the playoffs we had 1. Like
that's true.
That's not good enough. And he goes, in the regular season, you don't score against the top 5 teams, but you score against all the bottom 10, and
that's
so your percentage looks great.
Yeah,
but we're not good. Like
that's a great point.
He wasn't happy with the power play, which is, I'm guessing, something that they're going to mess around with a lot this training camp.
Well, what I saw from the interviews, and I didn't watch them all, but the one theme that, first of all, these guys have been around each other for a long time.
Yep.
And then the second thing was sort of this I don't know, quiet confidence that they have, like in the past they've crowed a little bit.
Yep.
But I think it's just kind of like, they're kind of like, we're going to do this, right, guys? Like, we're going to do everything right. Like, we're not going to waste a day.
Yep.
Let's just knock this out because we're better than Florida, whoever wins the Stanley Cup. Like, they really have a belief, but they're also, they're ticked off. They're like Kucherov. And if Kucherov's mad, if Kucherov's ticked off, then the rest of the team needs to be ticked off too.
Yep.
I mean, that's just, you got to play angry. I'm excited about hockey starting, though. I think we need this to take our aggressions out, quite frankly.
Yep.
But look, that's still one hell of an organization.
Yep. And the Stadium
just
Series is coming to Tampa on February 1st at Ray
Yeah, now
J.
how the hell are they doing that? May I ask? Because look, it could be 88 degrees on February 1st.
Well, I sent you an article from NHL.com that they put out today. So
right.
they're going to build a tent over the ice at Ray J.
Okay.
To keep the climate controlled. And they may even, the day before practice, play in that tent. And they could based on the weather, they'll decide when to remove the tent. It'll take 6 hours to take the tent apart.
Oh, my God. Really?
So the game's going to be at night on Sunday, February 1st. So they could take it off at noon and be ready by 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Or if the weather's going to be great that week and there's no humidity, whatever, they may take it off earlier in the week.
Yeah. Well, they're just weather depending is on everything, obviously. So
Yep.
See how that goes.
But tickets go on sale at 10 a.m. this morning to the general public. So if you want to get your tickets, Ticketmaster has it. So
Absolutely. Go down there and get them. Well, I'm going to be back in practice. We did have a chance to talk to Baker Mayfield yesterday. We'll get into some of that as the week rolls on, as they get closer to playing Sunday against the New York Football Jets. One other note, Tyrod Taylor, or Tyrod Taylor,
Yes.
as Baker Mayfield says it should be pronounced. He will start for your New York Jetropolitans. See what I did there? They currently do not have Justin Fields, who's in concussion protocol. So the Bucs get a backup quarterback. A lot of connections. Tyrod Taylor played for Todd Bowles and the New York Jets when Baker Mayfield rolled in here, and I think he beat him in Cleveland when he was with the Browns. So
most teams beat those Jets teams. So.
Yeah, they did. You're right. They weren't very good. They had like one winning season, but nonetheless, some history there, and should be a very interesting game. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with the Bucs offensive front. We'll find that out in the morning as well. Get on down to Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. Check out the beautiful watches, the Navitimers, Chronomats for men, women, ladies' watches. These are sports watches, and you can pick from an array of colored wristbands and the NFL 32-team watches that you need to check out. But you got to get down there in person while supplies last. It's Breitling Boutique. Thanks for their sponsorship. Hope you guys tell them that you heard about it right here on Sports Day Tampa Bay. For Steve Versnick, I am Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. Have a great day, everybody.